Nearly 60 years ago, the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, conducted an illegal experiment so shocking and cruel that it defied belief. Human subjects weren't just placed on the operating table, turned into unwilling lab rats. They were subjected to horrific psychological torment. This project was believed to help the CIA develop a drug capable of controlling the human mind, giving them the upper hand in the intelligence war against the Soviet bloc, while also serving other, more sinister purposes. This terrifying project was called MK-Ultra. But what exactly was MK-Ultra? Everything will be revealed in this video. CIA's mistake. The MK-Ultra project was a series of human experiments conducted at the height of the Cold War. Spanning over 7 years, its ultimate goal was to develop drugs capable of controlling and manipulating the human mind, intended as a weapon against the Soviet-led bloc. Because of this, MK-Ultra became known as a mind control program, with its primary test subjects being American and Canadian citizens. The project was spearheaded by Sidney Gottlieb and was officially launched on April 13, 1953, under the orders of then CIA Director Alan Welsh Dulles. Most notably, the CIA sought to use these drugs to attack world leaders, including Cuban President Fidel Castro. It sounds utterly insane, but because the project was under CIA control, everything was kept strictly confidential. The funding, the selection of test subjects, every detail was carefully disguised under the cover of legitimate scientific research. MK-Ultra was carried out between 1953 and 1964. During this time, the CIA conducted dozens of experiments on the effects of biological and chemical substances on American citizens. Without their knowledge, these secret tests included administering hallucinogenic drugs and other chemicals to unsuspecting individuals. Although obtaining official records on this program is incredibly difficult, in 1976 and 1977, the U.S. Senate launched an investigation and even held hearings before a joint committee regarding MK-Ultra. Following the investigation, the Senate released much of what it had uncovered. The revelations were shocking, almost impossible to believe. It was revealed that the experiments conducted under MK-Ultra involved LSD, stun-inducing drugs, hypnosis. These substances were administered to a wide range of subjects, including CIA personnel, doctors, military officers, nurses, government employees, prostitutes, psychiatric patients, prisoners, and even ordinary citizens. Beyond drug experimentation, the project also involved extreme electroshock therapy, severe physical and psychological torment. The ultimate goal was to create so-called Manchurian candidates, a term borrowed from Richard Condon's 1959 novel about the brainwashing of an American politician's son, who was then turned into an assassin. These Manchurian candidates were programmed to carry out assassinations and classified missions under CIA orders. Purpose of MK-Ultra. According to the Senate hearing reports, MK-Ultra was designed to develop the covert use of chemical and biological substances. The project was justified as a defensive measure, fueled by fears that during the Cold War, both Russia and China were secretly developing biochemical weapons of their own. Officially sanctioned in 1953, by 1955, the project had significantly expanded the CYA's authority, allowing them to experiment with various substances and methods aimed at enhancing the intoxicating effects of alcohol, increasing the effectiveness of hypnosis, improving resistance to deprivation, torture, and coercion during interrogation, and brainwashing, inducing amnesia before and during interrogations, causing prolonged states of shock and confusion, and even inflicting disabilities such as temporary paralysis of the limbs. During the hearings, Senator Edward Kennedy revealed an even darker reality. There was also an expanded experimentation program that involved secret drug tests on unsuspecting civilians. These subjects came from all walks of life, both rich and poor, American and foreign. Some of these tests even involved administering hallucinogenic drugs to citizens in social settings without their knowledge. In many of these experiments, especially the early ones, there were no medical personnel present to administer or monitor the effects of the drugs. More often than not, the unsuspecting subjects fell ill for hours or even days, with some requiring hospitalization, completely unaware of the true cause. Even more concerning, some of these experiments turned deadly. Yet the CIA refused to stop. Leaked reports suggest that at least 2 Americans lost their lives due to these programs, while many others may have suffered long-term side effects from the substances tested on them. Shockingly, these experiments weren't just isolated incidents or short-term trials. They were carried out over the course of many years, despite the clear dangers of hallucinogenic drugs. The persistence of these trials reveals one disturbing truth: the CIA showed little to no regard for human life. The death of Dr. Olson. One of the most infamous test subjects was Dr. Frank Olson, a U.S. Army researcher specializing in chemical warfare techniques and biological research for the CIA. In November 1953, he attended a conference with 9 other scientists at Deep Creek Lake, Maryland. Unbeknownst to them, CIA agents had secretly laced their Cointreau liquor with hallucinogenic drugs. It was only after they had consumed the drinks that they were informed they had been drugged. Most of the scientists experienced no serious effects and showed no adverse reactions. However, Dr. Olson was not so fortunate. He never recovered from the incident. Shortly after the experiment, he began displaying symptoms of paranoia and schizophrenia. His superiors, along with the CIA agents responsible for the experiment, arranged for Dr. Olson to receive treatment in New York. He was checked into a hotel room for the night, accompanied by a CIA agent named Lashbrook. That evening, Olson reportedly asked to be woken up the next morning, but he never got the chance. At around 2:20 a.m. on Saturday, November 28th, Lashbrook claimed he was startled awake by the sound of shattering glass. According to his report, Dr. Olson had thrown himself through the closed hotel window, plunging to his death from the 10th floor. Unsurprisingly, no formal investigation was conducted into Dr. Olson's sudden and mysterious death, especially not into the CIA agents who had drugged him and were the last to see him alive. Every trace of evidence was meticulously covered up.